Halli Casser-Jayne, and welcome to the Halli Casser-Jayne Show, where along with my partner in politics, veteran White House correspondent, and Time and Newsweek alum Matthew Cooper, we slice and dice all things politics, and some days, our lawmakers too. Before we get started, the Halli Casser-Jayne Show podcast is always available at hallicasserjayne.com and wherever you most like to listen to your podcasts. And be sure to follow me on Twitter at Halli Show Quotes. Now, bring out the bagels and the lox. Pour yourselves a cup of good Java and settle in. We've got a lot to get to today. Oi, that Democratic Party and all its Mishigas. What a week of drama they brought us all, including that S&M duo and all their torturing, Senators Joe Manchin and Kysteren Sinema. There will be a vote, there won't be a vote. Hostage-taking at its best. And that's just where we begin. Let's get started. It's Halli and Matt time. Here we go. Did you bring the bagels and lox like I asked you?
Yeah, I got it. I got them right here. I have a schmear.
We're doing this on a Saturday morning, folks, and the reason we're doing that is because we both wanted to wait to see what would happen with all the Mishigas that's going on in Congress. I don't know what.
Right.
Right. I don't know whether it was worth waiting for. What a lunatic asylum we're living in. Personally, me, and I think you're going to differ with me, I'm seeing this as a hot mess, but I know for the Washington Monthly you wrote a piece that I'm going to let you start with and put your thoughts out on what happened with the Democrats this week and where you think we are. And then I'll respond. Your turn.
Well, it's complicated. I think basically it was kind of revenge of the liberals. Look, it's complicated because most all the Democrats are kind of in the same place, except for a few. They want this bipartisan infrastructure bill that's relatively small by Washington standards that was worked out with the Republicans to pass, and they want a bigger thing that got all kinds of kind of social programs that they like, and it's got a child care tax credit extended, and it's got Medicare benefits for hearing aids and dental, which currently aren't covered in Medicare, and it's got clean energy, and it's got some paid family leave. It's got a lot of stuff that a lot of Democrats want. So the party's pretty united in wanting all those things. The problem is that because it's such evenly divided Senate and House, you got a couple of Democratic senators who really wanted a much smaller social program package, who were holding things up. We had a few in the House who were like that too. And so they had to figure out how to deal with these differences. And the liberals basically flexed their muscle and said, look, we're not going to pass this bipartisan thing that everyone likes. And we're not going to let you pass it unless you give us a good plan and guarantee that you're going to take up our social program, because they're afraid that,
they're going to stick
they might not get that at all. Yeah. They were going to get it stuck to them. So they didn't do anything. I think they used their power in a perfectly legitimate way. So it was a big, it was a little bit of, I think the short answer, I'm giving you the long one, but I think the short answer is it looked terrible. It looked like a big family fight, and it was, but sometimes a family fight is good because it kind of brings it closer to resolution. I think before it was more like a standoff, and they weren't really engaging. Now everyone's kind of got their cards on the table, and they're going to start to engage more. I think in an odd way it was a step forward, I think in the next few weeks they'll figure this out. I think in the end of the day it's going to happen. I think they're going to get both of these things. But, it's messy, and this is the problem when you don't have much of a majority and you're trying to do big things. Presidents who've done big things have had huge majorities, like Lyndon Johnson, Franklin Roosevelt, even Obama. They had a lot of, wiggle room. Biden's got no wiggle room, and this is why this is such a mess.
Well, but there are a couple of things that I want to say about that. I've never seen the public, both Republicans, Republicans, independents, and Democrats, want these programs. And that is what's so bizarre in a state like West Virginia, where they're needed more than anywhere. Do you hear me?
Totally. Yeah, right.
That Manchin is the naysayer. And I got to tell you, he really ticked me off because he said the two words that just make me crazy when I hear it from anybody, because I think it's such a disgrace. And that's this crack that he's talking about with, you have to, what was the words that he used? My brain just
entitlement society.
Means testing.
Oh, means testing, right.
Is there anything more outrageous, more disgusting, more elitist? The man with the yacht on the Potomac with the plebes in their kayaks pleading with him, stop it. This was more than I could bear. This was just more than I personally could bear. And I would say a lot of other Democrats are kind of going, oh, what? Geez, what is that? I mean, he's like God from high. And he's a senator. And Sinema's a senator. And they're stopping this whole thing. Some of this is just really bad form, as far as I'm concerned. You were going to say.
No, I look, I don't really, I don't agree with him, but I think in a way she's kind of, if we want to get into the personalities here, I mean, I think she's kind of the odder of the two.
She's weird. I think she's weird.
I think he's, he's been like this for a long time. People kind of know how to deal with him. I don't think he wants to destroy the Democrat Party. I think he's got some, populist tendencies. He was happy to raise taxes on the rich and corporations and stuff. That's one of the things he worked out with the Senate leader, Chuck Schumer. No one can quite figure out where she's at, what her bottom lines are, kind of motivations, personal or political, are here. I think this is kind of she's kind of the real question mark to me.
No, I agree with that. My friends called them S&M, by the way, which was the best I've heard. I mean,
oh, that's good.
I thought that one was just, because that's what it is. It really is a question of S&M as far as I'm concerned. I mean, it's just so cruel, some of it. Look, Joe has to answer to Big Pharma, King Coal, and Big Oil. So a lot of this is grandstanding because those are his donors. And who knows what they're putting the pressure on him for. I think some of that goes into play because there's not a program that's in here that doesn't help his constituents and would make them want to vote for him to bring more, sauce, home to the spaghetti factory of West Virginia, if you will, bad whatever. So where he's concerned, I agree with you. She's right up there with Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene. She is odd, and she's gotten away with being odd until now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. She's relatively new to the Senate, and people don't understand her political motivation because, Joe Manchin can't be primaried from the left, and no Democrat can win in West Virginia. She's, she has some vulnerabilities, and
her polls are up with the Republicans, so that's what's odd with her.
Well, they like her. They think she's courageous.
And whatever. So maybe that's where, maybe she's going to switch parties. I don't know. She's a switch
I might have thought that, but, it's so tough when you're, like, pro-choice, which she's very adamant about, to go be Republican. I think it would be a tough.
I don't know. I think she's going to watch the Supreme Court. Yeah. And she's bisexual.
Openly bisexual, openly atheist or agnostic. She's kind of wavered. As have we all. I kid. And she's, I don't know if she could really do the flip.
You know what? I think anybody can do anything and get away with almost all of it.
Yeah, I guess days. At this point, I'm sure Mitch McConnell has called her and said,
you better believe it, right? Yeah. It's going to be interesting to watch her. By the way, your Aunt Gladys cracked me up. Everybody, go read this on Washington Monthly piece that he wrote .com, because you made me giggle yesterday when I wasn't feeling like giggle.
Yeah. Well, I said otherwise Democrats are acting like if they pass this, everything will be great, but a lot of the things in there don't take a long time to phase in, like these Medicare dental benefits. They don't come in until finish the 2028. So it's not like your Aunt Gladys will get a new set of teeth by election day next year and vote for, Val Demings out of gratitude because, I got my new teeth.
Oh my God!
That's not how it works.
No, but that was just really, really funny. But that brings up the point, which is there's a lot of really great stuff in here, and they're going to play with some of it. I'm sure they may cut some, they may phase it in differently, as you said, and blah 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 blah. And I want to talk about that because I think that, again, this gets into another problem. The president talked about this maybe this morning because, why aren't you out there hawking? Because they're talking numbers, which goes right over most Americans' heads, other than, what the Republicans tell them, it's too expensive, except that they spent more than the Democratic side ever could. But the other side of that is they aren't selling the package. They are not selling what's in it. And I think
No, they're just talking about how much money it is.
Right.
1.5, 3.5.
Right.
I don't think people when they're told what's in it, love it, but they don't really know what's in it.
Well, if they knew what was in it, I think they would be saying make it 6.5, never mind 3.5 or 1.5. So I do think they're going to have to get Biden out there and everybody else and their cousin out there, saying exactly what's in this package. And I think that'll have a huge effect on how this goes in the next, because I don't think this is going to come to a vote in a day, do you? Maybe part of it.
Oh, no. Right. I think we're looking weeks.
Right. So get out there and do it. But again, it's the same old story with Democrats. They don't know how to message. I just don't understand that. They can't do that. But they can't. And that's a problem. The other thing is the longer this drags out, there's the other side of it too, which is the Republicans can beat the crap out of the Democrats over this if you give them too much wiggle room. So there is that.
Yeah, absolutely. And, things take, the longer things take, they tend not to gather strength. They tend to lose strength. So, I agree.
Yeah, so I do think
and it's mostly all popular. Even the tax increases are, not objectionable to most people, but Republicans have a way of turning it.
Well, they lie.
Anything into they'll just say Democrats are coming for your pocketbook.
Yeah, right. It's all a lie. It's all the big lie. It's all the same old, and all these years, and they still. My dog wants to get out of the office, but you can't. Come sit down. Nope, sit.
Yeah. So no. Look, I think we're in agreement. I mean, I think they'll pull it. I think they're gonna pull something off. I just don't think there's enough ideology. This isn't like a fight over abortion.
Right, I agree.
Vietnam or something. This is about money. So, money you should be able to compromise on.
But beware this means...
You want to spend this, I want to spend this. We meet somewhere, and that's what we do. So I think that ought to be doable. But
listen to me. Beware that means testing. That is a dangerous line to throw out there. That plays into Republicans' hands. Watch that line.
Because they're going to call it a welfare program?
Yep.
Or what?
Yep. That's exactly where they're going to go with it. Now, I think they're going to, and they can do it. It's hard to believe that they didn't do that, but they can do that, and they can get away with that. I mean, Matt, people aren't the smartest things in the world anymore. They're just not. They buy into slogan. So they better shut Manchin down on that deal if they want to move forward. That's all I'm saying on that. There's another aspect to this that I want to talk about, and that's the difference between, in this time, the progressives holding the moderates, beating out the moderates. Let's talk about that, because you and I talked about a couple of weeks ago, if not last week, this progressive movement and who they are and the squad and some of the ideological stands they're taking, i.e. anti-Semitism, anti-Israel, it's a different generation, and it's rough. There's that. What do you think? I'm worried.
Well, I don't think we're dealing with just, a handful of the extreme types like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. This is about, a lot of members of this caucus, this progressive caucus, and it includes a lot of people who are not, that left. It's just liberal. And I think they use their power pretty appropriately. I mean, I don't want to say I give them credit, but because I don't really sort of feel like they have skin in the game that way. But the moderates who kind of threw a big fit and said, "Oh, you got to delink these bills. You got to pass this little one that we like now, and we'll worry about the other thing later." They put a gun to Pelosi's head too a couple of months ago, and they extracted some concessions. This time, the much bigger liberal rump group said, "No, not so fast." So I don't think they did anything too wrong. I think they just on the other hand, they do need to recognize they're all from safe seats.
Right.
They're all going to go back to Portland, Oregon, Seattle, and Queens, and get reelected. And a lot of these other people are going to have to fight. And also, if there was no Joe Manchin in the Senate, okay, we wouldn't even be having this discussion. He's the only Democrat who can win in West Virginia, and they have to recognize that's the world we're in. It's not their oyster. So I hope they're willing to play ball now that we're into some real negotiations here, and I hope they are, and I hope Biden and Pelosi and Schumer can get them all locked in a room and figure this out. But I at least on this one, I don't think the lefties behaved in a bad way.
I think it's just we're in a new movement here. We're in a new time here, and I think we need to recognize that things are changing in the Democratic Party, and that brings up Nancy Pelosi. Lost some of her power? This her last rodeo? Shouldn't she?
Well, I think we are coming. This is going to be her last term as speaker for sure, if not as a member. And look, I think she's got a difficult act, but now I think she's smoked everyone out. And I don't think she's losing power. I think she's just got a very three-dimensional game of chess here, and I still think she's got a lot of skill and a lot of respect. So I think she's okay. I don't think anyone could do better given this set of circumstances. But now it's going to be on everyone. It's going to be on Schumer. It's going to be on Biden. Biden's really engaged now. It's not like Biden kind of delegating it to Schumer and Pelosi. Now the president's really in the room, and that's good, I think, to get this done. I think at some point you need that. And look, if after 36 years in the Senate he doesn't, know what to do, then, why do we elect him? It's funny that you got there, because that was my next thing, which is his walk yesterday was powerful. It was quite powerful. Yeah,
he timed it perfectly.
Yeah, right. You don't go up there till you really have to, and then when you go, you got to just do the pep rally, and come on, it's the locker room, it's the halftime locker room. You're 14 down. Come on, we got to go back out there.
So let me ask you this question. Thing. Yeah, just looking down the road a little bit. Let's say they have to cut a lot and they take a lot out. They can still go back with reconciliation later, right? They're allowed 2 reconciliations a year. Packages?
Yeah, they can go back again, right? I mean, if they abandon this, they can.
Well, I don't think they're going to abandon it. I'm just saying they have to cut back a lot, and they want to reintroduce something else later.
Well, they did one already this year, because that was the rescue plan earlier in the year.
It's almost over, right? The year,
right? So yes, they'd have to do it again. I can't remember if it's per year for Congress. I mean, they don't have unlimited reconciliations.
I think they have 2 a year.
How they count them?
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see.
There's no question they could try to, they put everything in one big, gamble, because they thought
they had one shot.
We can't go through a normal process because Republicans will, filibuster everything. So we got this one filibuster-free way of doing it. Mm-hmm. Let's put everything. Let's bet the mortgage. Let's put everything on this one wager, and this is, it's hard to do in any event, let alone when you have no margin for error. So
if they pull this off, hear me, it's OMG. But if they don't, it's OMG. So there's a lot on the line here.
I have a slightly different take, but I know what you mean. Look, they're definitely better off getting this.
Yeah.
Everybody is. It's a lot of splaining to do if they don't.
No, really, seriously, and I think they can do it. It may not be the whole thing, but it'll be a lot of it. I think they'll go back for more if they can pull this one off. But I damn well they better pull it off, because I think unlike you, I think it could be catastrophic if they don't. It just gives us right-wing crazies just too much to talk about if they can't pull it off when they control.
Well, the right-wing crazies will have a lot to talk about if they do pull it off, so.
Well, yeah, but the people will be on their side when they see what's coming their way. Nobody's turning down money.
I think so, but, they're not going to see it for a while. That's the thing.
No, I know how you feel about that, but the other side of it is you can make them understand it's coming.
Well, hopefully they will. Yes, hopefully they will do that.
Yeah. It'll be very interesting to see. Have we exhausted everything there was to say on that one?
Yeah, I think we've covered the waterfront.
We covered the waterfront? Okay. Then I want to get to COVID. And I want to get to the 700,000 Americans who are dead. Oh, my God. Matt, think about that. That's a number that kicks you in the gut. When it didn't have to be that way. And I was thinking about, the Spanish flu. It's more than people who were killed in the Spanish flu. And that was before modern medicine. We have a vaccine, and still we reach this just bizarre number. I tell you, makes you wonder. It really, really makes you wonder. So let me tell you a story about Florida. There's a reason I want to tell you this, okay? So you know that DeSantis has been setting up all of these stations across the state that if you get COVID, rather than go to the hospital, you go there and you get your monoclonal, whatever the hell that thing is called. Right? You know the shot? So the idiot tweets, with his bravura, with his big barrel chest, like a friggin' rooster, right? Stalking, and says, hey, hospitalizations are down 75% since we put this monoclonal whatever up in what have you. Now, we all know now at this point, first of all, that this virus has a cycle. Whatever variant is the cycle, and that it goes, and then it kind of dissipates, and then it moves to the next state, if you will, right? I say to him, moron, those 25 vaccinate sites that you put up, if they were vaccination sites, 100% of Floridians would not be in the hospital. I mean, how dumb?
Yeah, this guy. Ugh.
How dumb can you be? How dumb can you be? And I say, he's dumb, but all those people who are following him around, they're dumb. Ron DeMoron. I mean, honest to God, Matt, this is stupid stuff when he is trying to get people to buy into something that gets them sick. You got to explain it to me. And this is happening all across the country. Now, Lisa Murkowski this morning went bat crap crazy, okay? Because Alaska now has the highest amount of cases nationwide. And although they understand that it's away from the mainland, yada, 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 they're really having a problem in Alaska. I mean, they have got no way to help these people. They just don't have that kind of infrastructure. And so she gives us an impassioned speech yesterday about it. And, she went off on this stuff with the Nazis that you have to wear a yellow star if you don't want to be...
Right. Right. What the anti-vaxxers are saying. Yeah.
Right. And and I want to say to her, really, Lisa? Really, Lisa? Where were you as all of this got out of control with these anti-vaxxers in the Republican Party? And now? And she won't even go home, by the way. She's not flying into Alaska. She was supposed to go home this weekend and do all sorts of stuff, and she didn't because everybody's sick. I mean, this is the thing. There are no good actors on the Republican side. None on this. And I'm losing patience with it. Because here's what's going to happen. I mean, I don't know what's going on with you all, but you can bet if it's calming down here, it's moving to the next state and the next and the next. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the big map in the New York Times today, and it's it's like a Trump map. It's mostly
all Trump states.
It's mostly in the South. There's some Midwestern states that were Trumpy and have done okay on the vaccinations, but boy, it's bad where you are, and I feel badly for you. I mean, it's just
it's getting better.
No, it is better, and these mandates are helping.
Absolutely.
I think these work mandates, people are not going to, only the hardcore are going to risk their jobs.
Yeah, no, I think it is. I'm worried, as I think we all should be worried, because there are breakthrough cases every place. I do have a couple of friends who've gone for the booster shots, and where they didn't get sick on the first 2 shots, did get sick on the booster shot. They're same old, right? Do it or don't do it,
right.
It's where do you hit that line, kind of thing. So, this thing doesn't go away. It just morphs. But cases are down in the state. There's still 220 deaths a day, which is more than during the height of the pandemic and the original pandemic. So, that's
crazy.
Yeah, that's just a crazy amount of people to die from something. So I don't know what happens. How is it in Washington?
Not nearly as bad. I mean, we have very high vaccine now in the, kind of Maryland and Northeast and Mid-Atlantic. So it's not good. You never want to hear about people getting sick, but it's just not the same. And just, in kind of my part of D.C., people are wearing masks outdoors. I mean, it's like very high compliance, I mean, it's just kind of a culture of compliance. And, people are just doing their thing. And now people are getting their boosters, I just, there's just not this,
not the crazies.
There's nobody walking into the grocery store screaming at the cashiers like you see on these videos with these nut jobs.
Right?
Yeah.
It's just
with the school board nut jobs and the conservative groups. I mean, look, I understand the left went a little overboard at times with the making kids playing tennis wear masks. There were some things that were a little unnecessary, but Jesus,
I'd rather be on the side of caution than the other side. So there is that.
Look, I mean, it's not that big a deal. Put on your mask, get shot, and get on with your life.
Yeah, right. Well, that doesn't happen. Listen, on that, I want to bring up one thing. Trump spoke this morning. I think it was to Yahoo News. I bring it up for 2 reasons. One is he talked about the fact he admitted that the vaccine that he got was the Pfizer vaccine, number 1. He said COVID that he got wasn't as bad as the media portrayed it. Well, right, sure. Mm-hmm. Sure. But he wouldn't commit to getting a booster vaccine.
Well, that's his people, right?
Well,
He's an asshole.
He
should be like Pence or Biden or anyone else. He should go get the shot publicly on camera. So anyway, I hope he gets his shot.
I hope he does,
he tells people he gets the shot.
Well, I don't know if he's going to do that because, he's an asshole. But I was starting to say to you how funny some of this is, in the respect that, can you believe that we're calling a former president of the United States an asshole? I mean, right? My father's rolling in his grave.
Yeah, well,
but it deserves it.
Yeah, it's not your
regular president.
No, I mean, he's just.
Oh my God, it's so utterly sad. It just is enough to make you crazy.
I never voted for him, but I did have some hopes for him. I did think.
Did you?
I just didn't. Some.
Better person than I am.
What?
You had more faith than I did.
Well, I just didn't think he was that conservative. I didn't think he'd govern that conservatively, and I thought in the end, I thought things like the infrastructure. I mean, I knew he'd be corrupt and he'd be a jerk, but I thought he would. I thought he would get things done and not be as crazy.
No, not I. I thought he was off the wall. By the way, just as long as I brought him up, he also is now going in Florida federal court to stop Twitter from terminating his account, which says he really feeling the squeeze without having Twitter there to help him get his messages. Oh, well.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Oh, well. It's Florida, though. You never know what the courts are going to do down here because he owns them. every piece of real estate here is owned by Republicans. That's a conversation we should have at some point. Listen, I also want to talk to you about the Supreme Court today. Boy, they've been very vociferous of late. They who are usually so quiet when it comes to their personal. I mean, Alito got out there and made his case, and last week it was Amy Coney Barrett, and they're feeling the heat. Yay!
Yeah, I think they are. I think they're in a defensive crouch, and look, I mean, it's with good reason. I think people don't have the same,
respect.
They just don't respect, reverence, even for this institution that it's anything but just another extension of politics.
Well, there's something interesting also. Biden signed this executive order that's going to do a complete look into all of this with the Supreme Court, how they're elected, this, that, and that. Yeah, I don't know if he's punting to keep from packing the court, but I think it's a really good thing that this is happening, and maybe something very real will come out of this.
Yeah, I think the pressure works. FDR threatened court packing, and the court did change. And
how?
It stopped shooting down every one of his policies.
Okay, they heeded.
There's some academic debate about whether it was in direct response, where the cases were slightly different, but in any event, he didn't get the packing he wanted, but the message was heard. And maybe something will happen here. I don't know. I mean,
I don't think so.
And how about that Brett Kavanaugh with the COVID?
Well, yeah, and the thing that I found the most interesting about that is, forget the fact that he had it or has it or whatever it is, and did they went ahead and did that ceremonial investiture for Amy Coney Barrett, which she didn't get last year because of COVID, and then he appears without a mask on the steps of the Supreme Court, as did she, with Roberts, and I'm like, okay, huh?
Yeah.
Not a good look. Not a good look.
No.
But Sotomayor did something I thought was quite extraordinary this week. First of all, they went. She struck down them. Some New York teachers, I guess, went to the Supreme Court saying, on the mandate, and she said, no, there will be a mandate, and that was the end of that. And she didn't even refer it back to the others. But she also spoke this week. And I thought she was sending a very cryptic, not so cryptic message. She's been speaking out concerning the ethical constraints of the justices, so they never used to do this kind of thing. But she, I think, was signaling to everybody in terms of Roe v. Wade. I think she told Texas law students to oppose the Texas abortion law. Period. End of conversation.
Right.
That took a lot of eggs.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she was really
she's angry,
pissed by this thing.
Yeah.
She's angry. Well, she was right. This crazy law turned citizens into bounty hunters.
I mean, it's nuts.
It was.
What do you mean was? It is
being anti-abortion and obviously not sanctioned by Roe. It was just they just totally changed the way we enforce our laws. It was like
But I think the fact that she said this and that she spoke out this way was her saying, "This is what's coming. This wasn't a one-off."
Right. No, I think it's going to scare Roberts even more into trying to. But he's kind of losing his grip. He's losing his grip.
He lost his grip.
I think he lost. I don't think he's got his grip anymore.
That night court thing. That shadow thing. This is
not good.
This is not good. At what point then?
I mean, our second most populous state is effectively banned.
Yes.
There's no,
when it's the law of the land.
Yeah, be it through this little subterfuge.
Be it the law of the land. Speaking of, by the way, women and men are out today all over the country. I'm sure it's not in great numbers because it happened very quickly. Number one, in COVID. Number two, protesting. This.
Yeah, I think that's only wait till we get to the Roe anniversary.
Yeah,
January. Yeah,
I think that'll be big time. But I do think President Biden, they need to get this under wraps before the Supreme Court can do damage that's undoable. I don't know how you do that, but where there's a will, there's a way.
Well,
I know he's got a lot of stuff on his table, but when does this next case, which is really the case it comes at the end of this month, right?
I think they hear it, yeah, and then they rule next spring.
So,
but they hear the arguments.
Yeah. So, brave women of Congress who got up there and testified about their own abortions. God bless them. That took courage.
I kind of, you wonder your thoughts about this, because I think one of the things that gave the gay equality movement its strength was, encouraging gays to come out, and that was the big thing that you had to. You weren't gonna have true equality for gays until gays came out of the closet. They had to really kind of tell their families and tell everyone.
Tell the story, right?
Tell the story. Don't just, don't hide it and shame it. You have to come out. And that was Harvey Milk's big thing. And I think you may see more of that with abortion. With just more, women, basically so many have, that they'll just start to say, look, yeah, I had one, and here's why. Or not, here's why. I just did, and let's keep it legal.
Well, I think another part to that would be this. The numbers of women who have had abortions is incredibly high.
Yeah, right.
And, let's not kid ourselves. There it is. And the more who get out, as you say, and speak to it, and they're
and
own it,
and fundamentalists.
Well, I don't think you're ever going to hear from Republicans or the fundamentalists. That's going to happen. Maybe little by little, because it's a shame that men can't comprehend. They really cannot. I've never had an abortion, but I have assisted.
Me neither.
But I've assisted two women who did.
Right.
And helping them obtain them, and it was two best friends who asked me for their help financially. And spiritually, if you will. And it was rough, Matt. I got to tell you, it was rough. But I knew that they had made their choice, and it had nothing to do with me, and whatever I could do to help. That's what you do for friends, back in the day. So, yeah, you got to get up front and straightforward and out there, and no shame. And that was the beauty of what we saw on the Hill this week with those women.
Yeah,
no shame. Yay!
Yeah, I agree.
And the entire movement by these people, these men and a few crazy women out there who are beating down on people over the issue of choice, love to play shame. Shame is their middle name.
Well, to be fair, I don't think they generally don't shame the women. They tend to say the women are victims. They have a sort of
that's shaming, my friend. That's shaming.
Yeah, you're a victim. You've been victimized by the abortion industry.
Shaming. That's shaming.
Yeah.
That's belittling.
Well, I think it's belittling.
You see what I'm saying? I mean, from a woman's point of view, to have that card played at you is...
No, look, I understand.
Yeah, it's a rough situation. Did I say this to you last week? I don't remember on the subject. That I had a friend who abandoned his kid because he was young and he was crazy and he didn't have any money and he didn't want to have to pay child support, so he gives the kid up to the mother. And he's a ranting, raving, lunatic, anti-abortion type, right? And I said to him, you had your own abortion. You just did it in a different way. Men have abortions every day, and that is a piece that I'm going to write a piece about that, come to think of it.
Oh, that's a good piece.
It's a good piece. All right, we'll do that. Right.
Oh, yeah, it's a good piece.
Yeah, all right, so there you go. Moving on. Haiti, all but forgotten, and I understand it's a nightmare there. I have some friends who've been flying over to help out. They said you can't even believe what's going on there.
You've probably been to Haiti, right? I have.
Years and I can barely remember being there, but yeah, it was like
I went
20, 30 years ago.
I gotta say,
it's not pleasant.
It's rough, it's really rough, and it's deforested in one place. Everyone's cut down the trees.
But when I was a kid, we used to go there from here,
Yeah, they have a lot of resorts.
It was Resort City. It was absolutely gorgeous. I mean, that was before what's his name came in. It's
always been poor, but now it's
devastated.
Well, at least, I mean, with the dictators, there wasn't as much chaos. I mean, it was horrible, but it wasn't as horrible.
It's very sad.
In a way.
So
it's very sad, and of course, such a great history of independence and stuff, and it's very slave revolts. So it's very sad. But these, the whole with the border and
the immigration
coming up from South America.
I mean, it's a mess. Well, I think my theory on that wasn't all just people just wandering in from South America.
Right.
This was the Republicans at work. Listen, from Haiti we go to Afghanistan. Remember that place?
I do.
I mean, because that's another one who quickly fell off the radar. But we did have this testimony by the generals and stuff. And I'm happy to say that went nowhere. Because the Republicans didn't have a leg to stand on. You got anything to say about that?
Yeah, this time they were like, they were torn. They were like, the generals said, yeah, we told Biden to leave troops. And the Republicans were like, that's good. But you should have resigned because he didn't take your advice. And, they asked him, oh, did you talk to Bob Woodward for his book? And, the Joint Chiefs Chairman said yes. And I don't know. They didn't really, I think in a way
they punted.
They didn't get anywhere. I mean, they got Tucker Carlson fired up for one of his rants and stuff.
That doesn't take much.
That doesn't take much. But I don't think they really.
They didn't get the kill.
They didn't get the kill.
No, right. And I thought that was really interesting. And the fact of the matter is, here we are, and guess what? We're out. All that money that they saved, by the way, should go into the reconciliation package.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. I want to bring up Ted Cruz.
Yeah.
What's this deal with him blocking all the ambassadorships and getting away with it? You know about that?
Well, yeah, this is another one of the Senate things. We block these things. They're all just looking for ways to be the biggest asshole. Like Rand Paul wants to be the biggest asshole on masking, and Cruz wants to be the biggest asshole on this, and Hawley wants to be the biggest asshole on something else. I mean, it's just theatrical. Except
that he's really stopping them from being appointed.
No, I mean, their purpose is theatrical, but it does real damage.
Yeah, and I think...
look, we don't have ambassadors in lots of very significant countries, and it's not good. It's not the way a great power behaves. And
that's a story that's under the radar, though, and I think it needs to be on the top of the radar. So that's why I brought it up.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I just think it's too...
I can't get my ambassadorship done. How am I going to get this Bahamas gig without...
It's really crazy shit is what it is. It's just crazy. By the way, can I go back to the abortion thing just real quickly? I just want to bring up the fact that Texas not only is doing this crazy with the bounty hunters. Now they're asking they're going to try and stop the abortion pill being sent by mail, which brings us to the United States Postal Service and Louis DeJoy, and we are now turning back into the Pony Express.
Well, it's so fucking believable, this guy. I mean, I can't believe this wasn't a bigger story. That Postmaster General said, we're going to have a big rate hike, and by the way, we're going to have much slower service.
Because they want to privatize it, and he wants to be the one to buy it. I don't understand where Biden is. I don't understand where Congress is. This is, I understand where the Republicans are, because they like that. But honest to gosh, this is really disgraceful. This is the Pony Express. It was easier to get mail back in the day than it is now. Oh my God. Why is he still there? There is a board.
Yeah. And Biden put some good people on it. I haven't followed it that carefully. I don't know, but they should do something.
Quick.
Yeah.
Quick. Okay, moving on again. Let's move on to Virginia.
Yeah.
Let's move on to McAuliffe and Glenn Youngkin. Whoa.
Sure.
What do you think?
Well, I've thought for some time that Democrats were, McAuliffe was in trouble there because Youngkin's threading the needle. He's Trumpy enough to keep the Trumpies on board, but he doesn't act like a nut. He's got sort of a reasonable demeanor.
But he is a nut.
He's very right wing. I mean, he's pro-vaccine, anti-mandate. Like, he does all these things. Like, I encourage everyone to get the vaccine. I got the vaccine, and everyone should get it. But I don't want any mask mandates. I'm fine if doctors walk into the ICU without a mask. I mean, he's a jerk, and but I think he can win. I wouldn't write McAuliffe off. He's a damn good energetic campaigner. I think he can pull this out, but
he's still ahead, though. I mean, he's still ahead. It's
he's
not
still
a
ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's
no. I kind of think he will. I think Yenka might be peaking a little early. You don't want to start to pull up this soon, I think.
Do I ask the question of whether or not press has anything to do with this? Because are they playing it for the drama?
I think they're being okay. I don't think it's like they're. I think they're doing okay on this. I think I think it's just got to play out. I think this guy is a pretty good match for the state, and this is the kind of guy, if they ran him in New Hampshire against and they do a candidate like this in New Hampshire against Maggie Hassan or other places, they could win some states. They ran a guy like this in Georgia against Warnock, he'll get killed. Watch
it. It's very important to watch it, and so that's why we bring this up. Stephanie Grisham's book, who was the so-called press party person for at one point. But she never gave a press conference or a presser or whatever you call those things. And then she was Melania's chief of staff. They're dripping that story out, that book out of hers out one step at a time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now the latest was they called Melania Rapunzel. Whatever. I don't know that she rehabilitates herself. I don't know any of these characters can rehabilitate themselves, no matter what they do, shy of going to Capitol Hill and testifying that he was an asshole and put him in jail. What you think? I mean, it's fun, but that's about all that it is.
Yeah, that's about all there is. I mean, I think, they'll want to these semi-confessions, but they try to rehabilitate themselves a little bit. Come on,
It's sickening. Here's something else I want to talk to you about. Okay, Rudy Giuliani is in deep caca, from what I understand. He's not only financially strapped, but they got him on all sorts of things. And Trump has completely abandoned him. Fox has basically abandoned him, said that he's not allowed on air anymore. Then you got the Sidney Powell thing this morning. It was just said that Trump has banned her from any of his properties. Crazy Joe Rogan's out there calling Biden an idiot and saying he never got the vaccine booster, really. It was all a shill. Alex Jones loses in court. Corey Lewandowski loses his place. I mean, all of these Trumpsters, right, are getting whacked by Trump.
Yeah, I wouldn't quite call Rogan a Trumpster, but yeah.
I would. But okay, that's a different story. But I'm just simply saying.
Trump curious.
But isn't this fascinating?
Yeah, well, look, I mean, I think he had some very unstable personalities around him.
What do you mean he's the unstable personality? The point
well, because he's the unstable personality, right? And he begat others, and I think.
But here's my point. Lewandowski's a moron. But my point is this, Matt. People still go to work for this dude as if they're not going to wind up dead on arrival, too. I mean, that's what's so bizarre. The only one still standing is Steve Bannon, and he was banished for a while.
Right. No, I think, I think you got some people who have no other way of getting, money and a degree of notoriety than without him. So you have these people like Jen Ellis, right? I mean, she's like, working in traffic court or wherever she is. And then all of a sudden she's like his lawyer. And it's,
and what's his name? Who he replaced, what's it called it with? What's her name? The blonde lawyer from Florida, who was at.
Oh yeah, Pam Bondi.
Pam Bondi is the most. This girl has broken every law from here to Kalamazoo, and has skirted getting prosecuted. I mean, she's been up, under charges forever in this state. I like I said, what does she think? She's not going to get burned too? These people are stupid.
Yeah, a bunch of dopes.
I mean, seriously, a bunch of dopes. I'm worried about
Dopes.
Steve... Dopes. I haven't used the word dope in a very long time.
I mean, you would never call John Ehrlichman a dope or
No, these people are dopes.
You had some real dopes up there.
And in the meantime, Steve Bannon makes me nervous that he's running around and he's saying some very, very, very strange, bizarre.
Oh, yeah, he was supposed to go protest at some, Council of Bishops meeting in Baltimore this weekend. They said he wouldn't give him a permit because, because he thinks they're not, leaning on Biden enough on abortion.
So we say all of this as we go to close. Matt, listen to me. Listen to this poll from the Center for Politics at the University of Virginia. Speaking of Virginia, half of Trump voters polled and 41% of Biden voters are in favor of blue and or red states seceding from the Union. Huh?
Yeah. Well, they're welcome to join up with Canada, I guess.
No, I mean, this is crazy stuff.
Yeah. People are in a nutty place now.
Scary. I'm getting scared. You don't get scared.
No, I'm more unsettled than I've been.
Yeah,
I don't think after January 6th and the efforts to steal the election, you can be anything but very
unnerved.
Unsettled. Yeah.
Unnerved. The good news here is that although Trump is still very much a presence, right? Big old fat you-know-what is sitting in Mar-a-Lago, wherever the hell he's parking himself these days. The January 6th Commission looks like, and we'll end on this note, like it really means business. You think?
Well, I think they're serious. I think, look, when there's a mob coming for the Speaker of the House, you can bet that her people are going to put on a real investigation. Liz Cheney's not kidding. Benny Thompson's not kidding. Kinzinger's not kidding. So I think they're going to,
But
Raskin's not kidding. Yeah, so I think they're going to do a serious probe here.
So the probe is the probe, but here's what I wanted to ask you. This thing on the subpoenas. You think they're going to throw these people in jail if they don't show up?
Well, let's see what happens. I think this time they're a little more. Yeah, I think I don't know if they're going to let it play out in the courts all the time. Let's see. I don't know the answer.
Okay, so my answer to that question that I asked you was this: the first time that they actually do that, and they actually arrest some moron for not showing up or whatever, we'll know that they're serious.
I hear you.
Yeah, and up until then, means it's meaningless to me. It's just a bunch of, and it's going to take too long to boot. So, yeah. Anything else you got?
No, I think we covered the waterfront this week.
Talk to you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you for tuning in to the Halli Casser-Jayne Show, a production of Resec LLC. The Halli Casser-Jayne Show posts new podcasts Wednesdays, 3 p.m. Eastern, and is available at hallicasserjayne.com and on all your favorite apps. Be sure to visit us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and follow me on Twitter at The Halli CJ Show. Until next time, this is Halli Casser-Jayne.